of discount of LOL. That it? I kind of it's awkward to see how these names are spelt on this program for some reason when you're looking at past subs. But thank you so much for all your resubs, guys. Thank you. And Drunk Pack donated $5 as well. Who said, "Here's to you, Threedogg. Thank you. Here's to you. Here's to you all." All right. So yeah, it was a pretty exciting trailer. I thought. One thing, it's significantly tied to the core themes of the game more so than all the previous trailers. Like it very much dealt with uh, race and language and the words and all that sort of stuff. Like if you've watched me play Ground Zeroes, you will have heard me, talk about kind of identifying what the themes of the game, what the themes of the game is going to be. Um, like you hear Skullface several times refer to his identity being kind of summarized by his language, um, and his the words that he speaks. And he says the last identity I had, the words I spoke were pulled from me. Um, and this trailer, it's quite ambiguous in Ground Zero as well. I wouldn't say ambiguous, but it's quite subtle with how it kind of shows that this is going to be a more prevalent theme in the Phantom Pain. But in this trailer, it's full on with it's very obvious what the theme is. Um, so I thought that was interesting. Another thing is the name of the song, which is a New Order song. I'm not sure how to pronounce. Is it Elegia or however it's pronounced? Anyway, it's another pronunciation or another version of the word elegy, which is like a lament to the dead. It's sort of like a funeral song, um, which was, I believe, it was written for Ian Curtis, the lead on of for Joy Division, and I believe New Order created that song as a kind of ode to him or as a lament to him. I'm not fully sure about that, but yeah, that's pretty much the idea there. That it's sort of a lament for the dead. Which this is Kojima's last MGS game. It's his last ever MGS trailer, so it's very suitable that he would pick a sort of a lament or a sort of funeral type song. It's the end, um, the death of the series, I guess. So all of the songs that you see in the trailers, they all relate to what the story is about. They're not just a cool sounding song that goes along with the trailer that sounds good with the trailers. If you listen to the lyrics of all the songs, well, the E3 2013 trailer is obviously was that theme was made for the game. That's the actual theme in the game itself. But all these other trailers are just other songs that Kojima has chosen. If you listen to the lyrics of the garbage song of the garbage trailer, it all lyrics heavily relate to what the story is about. Same with the nuclear lyrics, and this song for this trailer, which doesn't have any lyrics. If you go and search what the meaning behind the song, you can see that it's also suitable. Even though it doesn't have any lyrics, it's a very suitable track that they use in the trailer. Um, so yeah, let's just get into. I'm sure a lot more people in the chat will have more knowledge on the song and what it means. I don't have too much knowledge on it, but that's more or less what it means. So yeah, we have a quote at the start of this trailer, just like the nuclear trailer. This one, like the last quote, obviously, this trailer kind of more was all about big bosses fall from grace or losing his moral center and becoming a demon. That's what it really focused on. Um, the lyrics definitely encompass that, and the opening quote was about anger. Look at it again. Yeah, anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured, which is, obviously relates to Big Boss in his quest for revenge against Zero. The anger that he has, it actually, does more damage to himself than it does to anyone who he's unleashing his revenge upon, doing more damage to himself than he is to the people that he's swearing revenge against. And we just got a couple more subs. Awesome Brand resubbed for 4 months in a row. Thank you, Awesome Brand. Always appreciate it. And Trilabs or Trilabs subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you for choosing to support the channel. Welcome. I'm glad you enjoy the content. Thank you for choosing to support us. So yeah, this trailer obviously relates. The opening quote is all about language, which is a core theme.
I was born in a small village. I was still a child when we were raided by soldiers.
This trailer, it seems to have a lot of kind of powerful imagery and a lot of symbolism in it.
Foreign soldiers. Torn from my elders, I was made to speak their language. With each new post, my masters changed, along with the words they made me.
All right, take a look at Snake here. He doesn't have any scars on his face. He doesn't have the horn on his head. So and if you contrast this with Skullface's monologue, with how he's talking about how his experience has changed him. We're getting more of Skullface's backstory. He's pretty much telling us the same backstory with his village, but it's worded differently, and you get a bit more different information. You contrast Skullface's words with Big Boss. You'll slowly see him start to change as he walks down the hallway here.
With each change, I changed too.
Skullface is talking about himself changing, and we're seeing Big Boss physically change as he's delivering this monologue. Here we see the horn in his head. You see the scars on his face. You also see how his uniform has changed as well.
My thoughts, personality, how I saw right and wrong.
And now you see, look at the size of the horn on his head and his face completely drenched in blood. So, it's pretty much going from phases of Big Boss's transformation, pre Phantom Pain, then, the beginning of the Phantom Pain, I would assume, then towards the end of the Phantom Pain, when the horn really gets to the size that it is now. And just, we had the image of Snake's face covered, drenched in blood in the last trailer as well, just to really make him look like a devil. However, that's obvious purpose of the horn, the symbolic purpose of the horn, which also relates to the whole ogre project thing. Kojima saying that there's going to be a devil type character in the game, but yeah.
Words can kill.
Now let's just watch that again. We can listen to Skullface's entire monologue as it parallels with Big Boss. And he says their words can kill, which is pretty much what's spoken in the theme of the game. Donna Burke in Sins of the Father, those are the lyrics, words that kill. Very interesting
small village. I was still a child when we were raided by soldiers. Foreign soldiers. Torn from my elders, I was made to speak their language. With each new post, my masters changed, along with the words they made me speak. With each change, I changed too. My thoughts, personality, how I saw right and wrong. Words can kill.
All right, it's very significant that we're seeing Big Boss, and we're hearing Skullface, but the way we're hearing, it's almost as if the words that Skullface what he's saying is you know, being applied to Big Boss. Skullface is talking about his own self. He's talking about what happened to him, but we're also seeing Big Boss change as Skullface speaks about changing. And you know, Skullface and Big Boss, the way they're kind of being portrayed as mirror images of each other, or, you know, total, you know, opposites, or you know, that in that sort of sense. If in Ground Zeroes, you know, I spoke about it a lot. Sorry, I'm getting my I'm thinking about so much stuff that it's hard to slow down and just concentrate on what I'm saying. But Big Boss and Skullface, they're sort of being portrayed as reflection. Reflection is a better word, considering the use of mirrors and everything, and in the trailer and in Ground Zeroes, they're being portrayed as reflections of each other constantly. Like in Ground Zeroes, if you read my analysis on the opening cutscene, or you heard me talk about it before, all about portraying Skullface and Big Boss as mirror images of each other. That's what the whole opening cutscene of Ground Zeroes is doing. Like, you're seeing Skullface's reflection in the helmet of the XOF soldiers. Then you're seeing him look at the reflection of the XOF badge in the mirror on the Jeep before he gets on the chopper. You see him wipe the XOF symbol off the chopper, and then you see him throw the XOF badge, and then you see it fall past the Fox badge. So you're seeing the mirror image. Then you see Snake climbing up the mountain. There's a lot more to it than that. But I'm not going to go into that whole. I'd have to just do a total analysis of the Ground Zeroes intro if I was going to do that. But yeah, it's very important just to note how they're portraying Skullface and Big Boss as these you know, mirror images of each other. And you remember, we also in Ground Zeroes we also have Skullface quoting Big Boss from Peace Walker, which is totally surreal. Like, he quotes lines from Peace Walker. Skullface says things to Chico that Big Boss said to Chico in Peace Walker, and there's no logical way of explaining that. It's just this weirdly surreal, supernatural thing that Skullface is now, you know, acting as Big Boss. He's saying the same words that Big Boss used to say, but, you know, there was no one else in those scenes to hear them. And he does it twice in Ground Zeroes, where he says these things that you heard Big Boss say. It's very sort of surreal. Yeah.
Time and again, the country was ruled by a foreign tongue.
And this one scene, all this scene shows is a mirror. Again, reinforcing this theme of mirrors and reflection. It looks like some sort of bathroom. And look, there's weapons all around it. What sort of bathroom is this? There's assault rifles on the left. There's rocket launchers on the right, and there's like white draping curtains in the middle of it. It's quite a striking image. It looks kind of almost like an altar, or it almost looks sort of religious or something. That's the kind of vibe it gives me. But it's a very short, quick scene of just a bathroom with a mirror in it.
Again, the country was ruled by a foreign tongue. When he was a young boy, he lost his...
Here's the tape, the tape here is The Man Who Sold the World by David Bowie. I played it on the stream before we started watching the trailers, for anyone who caught that. Yeah, whatever. The lyrics to this song are kind of interesting as well. It kind of makes me think about Skullface and Big Boss again. Like, some of the lyrics are like face to face and things like that. It kind of makes me think that's what they're getting at. Kind of the song is alluding towards the relationship between Snake and Skullface. On the left there, it kind of looks like it's a Kojima Productions logo, or almost looks like a Camp Omega logo. I'm not sure what that is. Pills to the right. I'm not sure what else really there, but yeah, obviously it's focusing on the tape, which obviously has some sort of significance.
Native language, the bedrock for any developing child. His country, His family, his face, his identity, everything was stolen from him.
There was the tape again, by the way, with the same, like, you saw the tape player there,
Face, his identity,
but it's the tape is inside it. The Man Who Sold the World is the tape that's in. Read it.
everything was stolen from him.
I think that's a really weird collection of scenes there. And I think it's sort of hinting at something that may be impossible to understand what they're getting at. But it just seems... Just look at this. The next scene shows a helicopter just flying through some area. And then you see Snake on the bed. And then you see another scene with just a helicopter flying through some random area. What's the deal with showing just two random helicopter scenes like that? Just the way they're placed, it just seems very weird. Just take a look at it. Oh, maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed the first one. No, I didn't.
His country, his family, his face, his identity, everything was stolen from him.
Snake in the hospital. Helicopter. Snake in the hospital. Helicopter. Right. We've seen this scene in the previous trailers, but this scene is different. Snake's face is different. In the other trailer, he didn't have that black scorch mark on his face. This could very just well be changes that they've made, which I think it probably is, to the scene. You know, Kojima obviously has like I think the last time we saw this scene was in the Garbage trailer, which was, you know, a couple of years ago. And you know, I'd imagine you know, Kojima has made changes to certain scenes and maybe made Snake a bit more fucked up looking, a bit more burned, scarred looking, or something like that. But his face looks different here than it does in the original trailer. Whether that has, you know, it is actually some sort of crazy, you know, if it has some sort of crazy significance, but I'd say it's just likely a change that he made. Now this is interesting. The Kojima Productions logo without the name Kojima Productions there. Kojima put the logo there even though he wasn't allowed to put Kojima Productions there. I find that interesting. Especially just given the nature of the trailer and that it's, you know, this sort of funeral song and this good, you know, the end, his kind of Kojima's, the trailer is kind of Kojima's goodbye in a sense. I think, you know, given the nature of the song that he's put for it, you know, it definitely feels like it's the end. And now here we have, and you know, the opening monologue is about this guy who has had everything taken from him and all this stuff. And you see the big Konami logo on the screen, and then it keeps playing. Then you see the Kojima Productions logo, but Kojima's name has been erased from it. The words are gone. Look at that, it's just so weird. Look at the Kojima Productions logo without the Kojima Productions words being written there. There's something just very poetic about all of this. In a tragic sort of way, but very interesting. There's Miller. Poor Miller. Like this is after you rescue him and he's lost his arm. And he's just letting the empty sleeve fall through his hands, assuming, you know, symbolizing his loss of his entire arm. Just letting this empty sleeve fall through him. His empty arm is gone. No, poor Miller. Fucking
Since
epic.
ancient times, every civilization's ruler has had the same idea. When people unite under one
Here is Snake smoking whatever that pipe is with Code Talker.
Since ancient times, every civilization
Now you see him. He's sitting down, ready to smoke that shit, whatever it is. This looks like the same place that you see Code Talker in the 2013 trailer, because you see all the candles in the background. I assume the voice is Code Talker as well. I kind of thought that he would sound a bit older, but I'm not fully sure on that. But I think it's Code Talker speaking here. It's kind of, I'm not sure if it has that sort of native twang to the accent, but I kind of get that vibe off it sometimes.
ruler has had the same idea. When people unite under one will, they become stronger than the sum of their parts.
Yeah, he sounds kind of native to me. Not sure, but there's so much to talk about. Like, I'm probably missing some things. I'm just speaking about what I'm initially thinking of, and I'm probably completely going over things that people want me to talk about.
Unite under one will, they become stronger.
So yeah, here's Ocelot about to inject Huey, like we've seen before in previous trailers. Torturing Quiet as well.
Under one will, they become strong.
It's the same room as well. Like, you can see the you see that machine in the background that they wind up to get the electricity.
Stronger than
the generator or whatever it
sum
is.
of their parts.
Here we see
What do
Miller is blind. Those blind eyes. I fucking love Miller's character design. You see him. We see him. We see his design in Peace Walker, and then we see him in Ground Zeroes, and then you see him at the beginning of the Phantom Pain, as well. And he's just wearing that green T-shirt or whatever, and then you see him come back with his like lost leg, his entire arm ripped off him. And then the Miller that you see after that is just like this crazy, hell-bent on revenge Miller with a peg leg and a crutch, a long foxhound trench coat, a beret, sunglasses. He's even blind. Like, Miller's, physically lost so much more than Big Boss has. He's pretty totally immobile. He can't see now. Just something I kind of speculated about earlier before. If you watch me play Ground Zeroes and I do the Glaz and Politz mission, I kind of pointed out that Glaz and Politz foreshadow the Phantom Pain. Their backstory and their characters are supposed to contrast Miller and Big Boss. Like, you find out that Politz has a prosthetic finger. You see that Glaz is wearing Miller's sunglasses, and you also find out that Glaz has a glass eye, and that they but the way they lost all this stuff was self-mutilation. Like, he cut out his own eyes, which I doubt Miller has done, but it's definitely interesting that mission draws significant parallels between the characters. But I didn't suspect that Miller would lose both his eyes. But I did think that he would be blind, somewhat blind in this game, that he would lose his eye. Based on like the last trailer, I'll just show you. Hold on, just go back to this trailer right here, just so I can show you something about Miller's blindness. Just love that. I love Miller's design. He looks badass.
It's me.
Look at Miller's left eye here. Like, his left eye looks totally fucked. He looks like he cannot move it. He looks like he can open his right eye.
I'm here to get you out, Snake.
take another look.
Cause it's me.
Yeah, like you can see his right eye kind of glimmer there, but his left eye looks totally closed.
I'm here to get you out. Snake. What took you so long?
A visionary, huh? You know, he's not going to be seeing too well. But yeah, like I wonder, does he lose? It seems like, you know, he's lost both his eyes there, I guess, with what we've seen in this trailer. Yeah, it's interesting. Unless they're glass eyes or something. I don't know. Like it seems like he's I just kind of got the feeling that he can see somewhat with the way he's walking around and the way he's kind of moving his head around in you know, in certain scenes that we see in the previous trailers where he's kind of looking up at Mother Base and he's you know, he's like showing Snake the base or whatever when they're side by side. You see him walk up to him, just the way you see him walk around and the way you see him look around. It doesn't really appear as if he's blind. I just kind of thought of that now. Like it doesn't, with the way he's walking around so comfortably, and the way he's moving his head around, it wouldn't seem like he's blind. But yeah, anyway, it's interesting.
Rulers used to.
Look at him here. This is Miller. I assume that's Miller before this. I assume this is the same scene, but that's a pretty epic image, I think. Look at Miller at the center as all his soldiers look up at him, assuming that he's giving some speech to them, you know, about their philosophy or whatever. That's a pretty cool image. All the choppers flying above, and you see to the left of him is Big Boss. Then to the left of Big Boss is Ocelot. That design. It looks like, yeah, that looks like it's from the same scene. Like you can see Mother Base behind him.
Do rulers?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it is. If you look at that, if you look at what's behind Miller in that scene, what we just saw, the close up of Miller that we just saw, it's the same thing that's behind him. Yeah, it's the same scene there. Diamond Dog's flag, the choppers. Pretty epic.
Used to bring people together. Language.
Miller and Big Boss walking side by side. Big Boss with some sort of fucking, looks like a gigantic sniper rifle or something like that.
This world will become one.
This is Zero speaking now.
I have found the way. Race, tribal affiliations, national borders, even our faces will be irrelevant. The world that the boss envisioned will finally become a reality, and it will make mankind whole again.
That's pretty fucking epic, I think. I like Zero's voice, I think. You know, he's obviously talking about the world that he's going to create because he believes that that's what the boss wanted. He's talking about, you know, controlling the world through information, through words, through language, assuming what he's going to do with the Patriot AIs, setting up the Patriot AIs. If you at the end of Peace Walker, you know, the final twist of Peace Walker is Miller talking to Zero, and Miller says to Zero, it appears Sigint was right. AIs are best suited to high-level data processing, and you know, it's foreshadowing what's going to happen in the future with Zero setting up the AIs to control the world based on what he believed the boss wanted. So this is what Zero's talking about here. I'm just gonna go back.
And what do rulers use to bring people together? Language.
This world will become one. I have found the way.
Here's Big Boss, you know, training with the soldiers. It kind of looks like a similar scene to what we've seen in the other trailer. You know, gameplay-wise in this game, you're going to be able to train with Diamond Dogs on your base. They'll kind of ask you, do you want to spar with them? And then you'll, you know, do CQC on them. And you'll be able to raise your stats by CQCing your own soldiers and, you know, sort of training with them. Yeah. You can also see posters in the background.
Race, tribal.
See that poster right there? Big Boss is watching you. And I don't think, from what I've read, spoilers if you don't want to, if you haven't been watching the if you haven't been reading the previews or anything, I'm just going to spoil a little gameplay thing here. You can collect posters in the game. They're kind of like Easter eggs / collectibles, and then you can hang them up on Mother Base. So when you're playing through the game, you'll find like pictures of half-naked women and posters like this that you can then hang up on Mother Base to decorate it. So these posters aren't things that are, well, most likely they aren't, because I know this is a thing gameplay-wise. The player, that it's up to you to decorate Mother Base like this. You can collect posters throughout the game. You know, when you're infiltrating camps and infiltrating the open world and everything, you'll be able to come across posters that you'll be then able to hang up in Mother Base. So these aren't just here within the main story. It's just part of kind of like an Easter egg.
Affiliate.
You can also see another poster there to the left. Big Boss is watching you again. It's just a picture of the Diamond Dogs logo.
Affiliations, national borders, even our faces will be irrelevant.
This is interesting. It's go back here.
Language.
Our faces.
Obviously this reminds us of the scene in the nuclear trailer of the caskets being burned. But this kind of looks like it's in a completely different place. I'm not sure if it's just because this scene, this time round, it was in daytime and the last scene was at night. But it kind of seemed like the scene in the nuclear trailer was, you know, inside the base. But I guess I'll have another look at the nuclear trailer. Regardless, it looks, you know, like the same thing. Who knows? We don't have much context for what's going on here. What dead soldiers are these? What happened here? Who knows? But obviously it relates to the scene in the nuclear trailer of Big Boss scattering the ashes and things like that. You can see the soldier there on the left. He's kind of traumatized.
This will be irrelevant. The world that the boss envisioned will finally...
Now this looks interesting to me. Some totally wild speculation for this scene. Like there's nothing supporting this really, other than the look on Big Boss's face and the way the scene is framed. But something that I kind of something I speculated about a long time ago was that Ocelot will expose Miller for who he is. That he will, you know, expose Miller's affiliations with Cypher, with Zero. He'll expose the fact that Miller was working directly with Cypher when he was pretending he didn't know what Cypher was. Miller is working as a business partner with Zero. He knows about the clones behind Big Boss's back. Knows about the Patriot AIs and Zero's plans with the AIs. He knows not only is he working with Zero, but he knows Zero's plans and what he wants to do. He knows about the fact that Big Boss's DNA is being manipulated for all this shit. So, you know, and the fact that Ocelot was also with Zero, you know, the fact that Ocelot was also with Zero, but Ocelot is going to be like the opposite to Miller. That I assume that he's going to come working for Big Boss, telling him, you know, flat out that he was with Zero, and he's going to be telling him Zero's possibly telling him Zero's plans. So I think what this scene looks like to me is that Big Boss is turning around to Miller and he's like, what? You know, what the fuck did you do to me, sort of thing.
Boss in Vision will finally become...
But even if that scene isn't, even if that's not what's going on in that scene, I kind of just want to talk about that anyway. Just the whole dynamic between Ocelot, Big Boss, and Miller. They're the three top guys at Diamond Dogs. It's sort of like a chain of command sort of thing. They're the three main guys. The story, it definitely seems like it's going to have some sort of power struggle type storyline. It heavily, you know, it really seems like Big Boss and Miller are going to fall out. Like, you know, Miller has to get exposed some way. The fact that he knows all this stuff about Zero, that he's holding so much behind Big Boss's back, all of this stuff has to come out. It has to be exposed in the story. It's too good for it not to happen. Like they have to do something with that. There's so much possibility for that storyline. The fact that Miller knows all this stuff, you know, it'd be so good to see that play out. Miller getting exposed and Big Boss going crazy over it. Big Boss and Miller falling out. You know, it'd be so exciting to see. That's what that scene looks like to me. It's kind of like Big Boss has realized something about Miller and he's turning around to him and he's like, you know, what the fuck, is this true? Sort of thing. But, you know, that's wild speculation, but, you know, something like that has to happen at some point in the story. Whether it's in that exact scene or not, who knows? But it's something that I'm looking forward to seeing. I hope does happen. I think it will happen. Because, you know, it seems like, you know, Ocelot ended up sacrificing most of his life in honor of Big Boss, doing everything. You know, he did everything in the Solid Snake saga for Big Boss. So this game, it can't really have a dysfunctional relationship between Ocelot and Big Boss. It just has to be, you know, well, obviously there's going to be some. You can't just have a straight Ocelot character with no sort of mystery behind him, but he will be loyal to Big Boss, and Big Boss and Ocelot's relationship will be healthy and friendly, I would assume. Well, who knows how healthy, but it will be friendly, while Big Boss and Miller's relationship will be very dysfunctional and it will break down. And I'd love to see Ocelot expose him. It would be badass just to see Ocelot, you know, completely point him out for the traitor that he is and everything. But we still don't know what Miller's goals initially were. Like it does seem like in Peace Walker that he was just a business partner. Like, you know, the call that he has with Zero, it doesn't seem like he has much loyalty to Snake. But then you see so much kind of camaraderie between Miller and Snake, but it could very much just be an act. Miller just wanting to get rich, Miller just doing things for his own sake. Because the call with Zero, you know, really makes him seem like a traitor, and not really caring too much about Snake. You know, he's holding so much information about Zero, not telling him about the cipher, but Zero not telling him about the fact that he was cloned. And remember what MGS4 says, that when Big Boss found out that his DNA was manipulated and they created Solid and Liquid, that's what really drove his hatred against Zero. When Big Boss finds out about Les Enfants in this game, that's what is really gonna drive him on for, you know, for total revenge, total insanity. So yeah, I think like this is always one of the points. Whenever I talk about MGS5, I find this is usually the part of the story I get most kind of excited about, and I like to talk about the most. Just the relationship between Miller and Big Boss, and Big Boss finding out about the clones and his relationship with Ocelot and that whole power struggle. What's going to happen there? I think one of the most interesting parts in terms of the you know, the plot and the relationships between the characters. Obviously, I'm more interested in just the story as a whole, the way the story is going to be told and how crazy it is. But
borders, even our faces will be irrelevant. The world that the boss envisioned will finally become a reality, and it will make mankind.
And here we have the mammal pod restored. The boss's AI restored, I assume, taken from the sea, revived in some way, perhaps. Who knows what's going to happen here? Another thing I think is interesting is Big Boss wants to create an AI or a set of AIs that control society based on what the boss wanted. Strangelove in Peace Walker creates an AI based on the boss's, the boss's worldview, her ultimate worldview of making, decisions based on nuclear retaliation, that she could fully determine, how to deter a nuclear strike and all that sort of stuff. Which she pretty much did the same thing. She created an AI based off the boss's will. And Strangelove is regarded as the best scientist in the field of AI research in the MGS universe. And she just so happens to be fascinated with the boss and wants to create an AI based off the boss's will. Now, wouldn't it make sense that if Zero is creating AIs based off the boss's will, that he would want Strangelove doing this for him? I think that could definitely be something that's likely going to happen. Something likely in the Phantom Pain, that Zero will use Strangelove. Like she's the best AI researcher in the world, and she has experience at creating AIs based off the boss's will. So it would really make a lot of sense that if Zero is pretty much trying to do the same thing, except his goal is to control society based off the boss, slightly different than what Strangelove or Coldman wanted in Peace Walker. That could. I kind of hope to see Strangelove in the game, and I hope that will be explored. That Zero will want to use Strangelove, whether it'll be that she'll be forced into doing it or not, because it certainly seems like Big Boss is forcing Huey to do what he's doing, and Peace Walker definitely foreshadows a lot of that. The Big Boss says to Huey in Peace Walker, "Are you sure you're okay with a nuclear warhead being armed on Zeke, and are you sure you're okay with us using Zeke for war and all this sort of stuff?" And Huey's like, "Well, I trust you the way you are now, and I trust that you won't change," which is really heavy foreshadowing, that Big Boss is going to change, and Huey isn't going to want to do do what Big Boss wants to do if he does change. Where he essentially becomes some sort of nuclear terrorist in this game. So I think that could be interesting. Huey and Strangelove's role, if they're both working for Diamond Dogs or the Patriots / Cypher Zero, whatever you want to call them. It's something I think about. I have no idea what's going on here. Why would is Big Boss going to use the Mammal Pod? Is he going to use the Boss AI for Zeke? Is Zeke going to use the Boss's AI? Is it going to be like the Boss AI in weapon retaliation mode against Zero's AIs based on the Boss's will to control society? Who knows? I'm just babbling out loud here. I'm just thinking out loud. I have no idea what could be done with this Mammal Pod in terms of the story, but it's interesting that we see it again.
Again.
Oh, now time for the absolute fucking craziness. Here's Paz. Hello, Paz. Good to see you again. Last time I saw you, you blew up outside a helicopter. But here you are again. Right, first thing I want to...
And it will make mankind whole again.
Ocelot and Big Boss looking down on Paz's body. Assuming this is Paz. Once again in the Phantom Pain, we are seeing... This is what we saw in Ground Zeroes. Paz's stomach in Ground Zeroes was stitched up just like this. A V symbol stitched up like that. You open up the body and you find a bomb inside, and then they throw the bomb out. And we're seeing it again in this game. Why are we seeing this again? Why are we seeing this stitched up Paz in the Phantom Pain? What's going on here? And if you look at the body, like it has like those green scrubs type things on her.
Become a reality, and it will make mankind whole again.
I don't think it's... What do you mean it's a picture? It's clearly a cutscene. It's clearly a cutscene of Big Boss and Ocelot looking down on a body. And you can see that it's she's wearing like medical clothes here. Like you can see the green. You can see green on one side and green on the other side. Oh, let's just take a look at this again. Or is it just a piece of flesh? I'm starting to question it now. I assume that that has to be a body, right? Like you can see that,
and it will make mankind whole again.
I'm starting to think it's just like just a piece of flesh. Okay, but anyway, let's assume that this is a body for now. Anyway, we're seeing this same thing that we saw in Ground Zeroes, and then we see Paz, and she, you know, it kind of, the first thing that you would think of is that it's a clone or it's some sort of, you know, robot version of Paz. You see him waving his hand in front of it as if to see if it can respond. And then, you know, she looks up. Anyway, we'll maybe come back to that a bit later. There's really not, we don't have any speculation about what's going on there. I don't think anyone could come up with, you know, you'd have to create just a huge story for what's going on there. I can't think of, you could come up with some sort of theory for what's happening there, and you won't really have much to back up what you're talking about. If you're analyzing this whole thing with Paz, we really have no idea. I think anyway. Here, this is interesting. One of the interesting things about Ground Zeroes was Chico's headphone jack. It's one of the things that's completely unanswered in Ground Zeroes, and there's nothing that would even suggest that you could figure it out. Like there's nothing. You see Chico in the opening scene of Ground Zeroes pull out a headphone jack out of his chest and put it in the Walkman, and it's just really weird. You know, why the hell is he digging it? Why the hell is he digging this headphone jack out of his chest? It's just this really strange thing that happens in Ground Zeroes. There's nothing that hints towards what that could have been, what that was about. It isn't explained in the story. There's nothing that would help you figure out what's going on there. And now in this trailer, we see again headphones being ripped out of someone's neck. And then he kind of falls back. It kind of looks like he's passing out there or something. And here, Quiet is... There's smoke coming off Quiet. If you look at her, she looks like she's burned. Yeah, she looks heavily burned there. And you can actually see steam coming off her body if you look carefully here. She looks really fucked up. Ooh, nice ass shot. Okay, go back. Ooh, burned ass. Okay, let's go back. But yeah, you can see that there's like smoke, steam coming off her. She's really fucked here. And this looks pretty nasty. This is the same guy that he ripped the headphones out of. have no idea what this is. What's going on here? Some sort of crazy experiments done on some guy. I assume this is the same scene from the nuclear trailer. You know, when we see this guy on the bed and Snake takes out a knife and it looks like he's about to cut into him. This looks like the same guy, or at least a very similar situation, where there's some guy passed out on like a bed or something, and Snake takes out the knife. It looks like the same scene, or something something very similar. And here we have these android things, which look really cool. Something interesting about the character design for these things is it looks like they have an eye patch. They look they're sort of inspired by Big Boss's character on one level. Look, they all have eye patches across their right eye. You can see the strap going over one side, and then makes it look like just sort of a completely mechanical eye patch. I think it seems very kind of Terminator inspired, this part as well. Their mechanical eye flashes red in a couple of minutes, or in a couple of seconds. And these things also seem like the female version of the skulls. You know, the things that you see jump up into the air. Those things are their skin color is the exact same, and they also have tattoos on the top of their heads. So they just look like, and they have the same green. See those green sparks in the air when you see the skulls later on in the scene. And here in the background, you see Big Boss and Quiet, right next to a destroyed chopper. Which, if we look at later in the trailer, you'll see Big Boss and Quiet get almost torn out of the sky chopper. But yeah, there you can see Big Boss. Quiet is right next to him. You can see her a bit more clearly there, that it's her design, covered in blood, I guess. And these are all... Oh, what the fuck? Oh, yeah, look, see that guy in the background? It looks like he's wearing shorts. Remember, take note that guy in the background there looks like he's wearing shorts. So does the other guy in the background. And they also, see the way he has that green light kind of coming around his head, those green sparks? What this looks like some sort of giant mechanical arm, and if you look at it carefully, it looks like it's holding a body. It's like a giant hand holding on to someone, and if it kind of looks like it's Snake hanging upside down. I think it is. Can you see a ponytail there? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Snake. Anyway, it's holding someone that's hanging upside down. So yeah, whatever type of machine that is, it's grabbing on to Snake. Now here are the male versions of those things that we just saw, with these green sort of lights as well. And they jump up into the air. Now let's take a look at this scene. These things coming out of the ground, I believe, are giant horns coming out of the ground. They look just like the shrapnel coming out of Snake's head, but giant versions of it. Let's see if I can find a good place to pause. Look at them. Look at the texture of the spikes coming out of the ground. If you look at, you might be able to see it too well with my stream's quality, but if you look at it on YouTube and you look at the quality, the just the texture and the material of these things coming out of the ground, the color, just the jaggedness of them. They seem like giant devil horns, pretty much, coming out of the ground, chasing after Snake. Look at it. Look at them. That's pretty crazy. I think this is the hospital scene at the beginning of the game. I'm not too sure, but the soldiers. Wait a second. Is that the hexagon floor? If it's the hexagon floor, then it definitely is. No, it's a different. It's a square tiles. But I think this could be the hospital section. Who knows? It looks like the very similar equipment. Blood. And there's a chopper that just flies through the building. This is just absolute chaos, really, right here. I have no idea what's going on here. Where is this? Some guy just jumping out on fire. Is this the hospital? Is this at Mother Base? We have no context, really, to speculate about what's going on here. Now here is Big Boss and Quiet getting completely fucked over in a chopper. And here are one of the skulls from the last scene. Remember the scene where we saw Big Boss and Quiet outside of a destroyed chopper on the ground? Well, I think that scene takes place after this. What you're seeing here is before the scene that we just saw, where those cyborg skull things, where they jump up into the air and in that sandstorm. And here we see this is like there's a sandstorm outside. Big Boss and their chopper is getting completely fucked up, and these things are coming up, attacking the chopper from the outside. And like, look, you can see it. See that guy out there? Such a cool design. I really like these android cyborg designs for all these guys. Shinkawa looks like he's done some good work. Such a cool design.
America is a country of liberty, a meeting of immigrants.
Alright, so there you see Skullface, right next to Big Boss. This is leading up to the scene that we saw in the last trailer. I think I'd be pretty confident on that. When you see Skullface and Big Boss get out of the Jeep together, when they're side by side, they both jump off the back. They have an XOF. They have XOF soldiers in the front. So you can tell that that's one of Skullface's men by the helmet that he's wearing, one of the XOF guys. So yeah, this is Afghanistan. Skullface and Big Boss leading up to they're on their way to Skullface's base, basically, where Zeke is, Zeke's hangar, which is somewhere in Afghanistan. And look at all those bodies in the background. I only noticed that now. Holy shit. Look at all those bodies on the road. Are they children? They look like children. They don't look like they don't look fully grown. Yeah, look at all those bodies lying on the road there. I didn't notice that. I think it's cool that they have the domino mask on Skullface as well for the Phantom Pain.
America is a country of liberty, a meeting of immigrants.
And here we have Liquid, Eli, and I think, I would assume, I haven't looked into this, but I would assume that is a jackal's head. Or is it like, oh no, it's a pig. I just noticed now, look at the ear, that has to be a pig's head, doesn't it? But yeah, like he's wearing a jackal's tooth necklace. If you look at Liquid's necklace, what he's wearing is a jackal's teeth necklace. In MGS1, Liquid says in the Middle East we don't hunt foxes, we hunt jackals. Instead of foxhounds, we use Royal Harriers. But another thing that's interesting, if this is a pig, I'm just going to go back to the E3 2014 trailer and show you something about Liquid in the trailer. Hope. Or was it the... Oops. Not quite there yet. Oh, that's sped up nuclear. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go back. Oh, here we go. Look at Liquid's back here. It says "Never be game over," and it has a picture of a pig with an eye patch on it. So that's interesting if what we just saw was an actual pig's head, because on the back of Liquid's jacket here is a picture of a pig but not only just a picture of a pig, it's a picture of a pig with an eye patch on it. An eye patch on its right eye, which, if you know how Liquid hated Big Boss ever since he was a kid. Liquid viewing Big Boss as a pig would, this pig on Liquid's back, symbolizing Liquid's hatred for Big Boss, would make a lot of sense, basically. And if you look at the Japanese that's written underneath the pig, that says Liquid People. Apparently, that's what it translates into. I'm not sure if it's Liquid's people or Liquid People, but people who actually understand how to read Japanese and everything, they have translated that to mean Liquid People. So yeah, it looks like the same setting as well. Look at the plastic chair that Liquid is holding up. And if we go back to this trailer, you can see that it's the same setting pretty much. Oh shit, where am I? Here I am, okay. Looks
America
like the same
is a
setting.
country of liberty, a meeting of immigrants.
Yeah.
Instead of
Same place. So I guess that is, yeah, it definitely looks like a pig, that's for sure. Fuck yeah. Liquid doesn't look too happy. Still rocking the blonde mullet, even as a 12-year-old. I think he's a pretty cool design as well. I like how he looks.
Instead of simply assimilating, its citizens live alongside.
Here's Code Talker smoking the pipe. And if you look at Code Talker's eyes, Code Talker is also blind. Just like Miller, his eyes look the same as Miller's. Look at those eyes. There's nothing there. Looks slightly different to Miller's eyes, though. But, it just looks totally... I'm not sure how you describe that color, just completely grey, I guess. Here is the Volgan manifestation, or hallucination, or specter, or whatever you want to call him. This form, whatever this form of Volgan is, likely not physically real. But yeah, here's the Volgan Spectre again. For people that wondering why everyone's saying that it's Volgan, is because he's wearing the exact same clothes pretty much. His entire suit, his entire build, the poses that he goes into, even in the hospital intro demo, he's even wearing his jacket, like the long jacket that Volgan wears in MGS3. His entire character design is the exact same as it is in MGS3. Like his knees, just his entire suit, his entire build is designed exactly like Volgan's. But he's, It doesn't seem like he's real, does it? You see him randomly, you see him appear and disappear out of nothingness in the hospital intro. And yeah, he's just this walking fire demon, basically. Who knows what exactly it is. Yeah, it's some form of Vulcan.
So the Major sought a system that used information. Words.
And here we see Mantis. Or whatever this game's version of Mantis is. Who knows if it actually is Mantis, but it's definitely supposed to be some sort of form of him. In the hospital intro demo, you see him levitating in the air, just like Mantis. You hear him breathing, just like Mantis. The way he holds his hands out and levitates in the air. And obviously, Mantis would be a child at this point in the timeline as well. So the fact that he looks young and short and everything would definitely make sense for him to be Mantis as well. But you only just get this image of him, which is pretty cool though. It's they've a lot of powerful images just in this trailer. It's just the design is just really nice.
Words to control the sub.
And this scene we saw this scene in the nuclear trailer, but it was at a slightly different angle. It was kind of closer up to Snake's face. We didn't get to see Huey in the background. So they look to be, side by side at least. Whether Huey's being forced to do what he wants, what Big Boss wants, who knows? But there's Huey side by side with Ocelot.
In his eyes, the greatest symbiotic parasite the world's ever known isn't microbial.
This looks like it's from the same... Remember the room at the very beginning? At the very beginning of the trailer that just shows a mirror, and that's all it shows for like 2 seconds. Seems to be, just a purely symbolic scene. Here we have Big Boss looking into the same mirror.
It's linguistic. Words are what keeps civilization, our world, alive. Free the world, not by taking men's lives, but by taking their tongues.
The way Eli jumps into Metal Gear there is just like how he jumps into it in MGS1. Remember how Liquid jumps into Metal Gear at the end of MGS1? He's like, "Nya!" And then he jumps into Metal Gear with one arm over like that. It's just a pretty, cool little reference.
With this, I'll rid the world of...
And here we have Zeke. Obviously, Liquid this is when Eli, most likely, this is what's happening. Eli has hijacked Zeke at Skullface's base. This is the base where they eventually go to. This is the same area from the 2014 trailer that I was talking about just a little while ago. You saw Skullface and Big Boss in the Jeep driving together. This is the base that they get. This is the base that they get to that we saw at the end of the last trailer. And here we have Big Boss being chased out of it by Zeke. And who is piloting it, I wonder? Most likely Liquid, the guy that we just saw jump into it.
World of infestation. Sound.
And here we have just another thing that's portraying Skullface and Big Boss in this sort of duality. It's kind of like, yin and yang, just reflections of each other. And notice how Big Boss is hanging upside down. And didn't we just see a couple of minutes ago the hand that was grabbing onto Big Boss, that giant mechanical hand, and Big Boss was hanging upside down? So this is probably This is probably from a scene around that point in the game, or this is the same thing. It's that hand that's holding Snake upside down, and this is Skullface talking to him face to face. But yeah, it's another thing that just that image of them side by side looking at each other. It's just this sort of duality reflection theme that's been, constantly repeating with regards to both of their characters as being reflections of each other.
Lingua franca. The world will be torn.
And here is this is obviously the entrance into the base that Skullface, the base that we just saw. And so Big Boss manages to run out of there, get out of there alive, and Zeke can't get all the way out of the base, so Big Boss manages to escape it because Zeke gets stuck. Liquid can't pilot Zeke out of here because he gets stuck.
Asunder.
See, look, its head is stuck in between the rocks, so Big Boss manages to escape Skullface's base.
And then it shall be.
This is the scene that we saw from the 2013 trailer at the end of the 2013 trailer, with Big Boss just going crazy with the rifle. The lighting is different here. It's it's been slightly changed since then, but it's definitely the same scene.
Be free.
The head of it's not Rex. Rex isn't created until MGS1. So if they were to have Metal Gear Rex in the game, it would just be a fucking ridiculous retcon. But the body of it, the head is Rex's head. The body is Zeke, and the legs are Zeke. And it wouldn't, it makes sense for it to be Zeke. It doesn't make any sense for it to be Rex. But yeah, the legs are exactly like Zeke's from Peace Walker. The body is exactly like Zeke's Peace Walker. The head has been changed to look like Rex. And obviously Zeke in Peace Walker was reminiscent of Rex anyway. So it's kind of like, Metal Gear's evolution is slowly becoming towards what Rex is in MGS1. Even if the games do take crazy, liberties, obviously the movement of all the Metal Gears and everything in Peace Walker and in this game, they're far more agile than Rex was, but a lot of that just has to do with, the technology that these games have just in terms of gameplay and game mechanics. They weren't able to make Rex into this super fucking thing back when they were making MGS1. But yeah, Rex's main feature was that it could fire stealth nuclear weapons that were invisible by radar, and that's something that they haven't retconned, which is the main thing. So at least they're not going to do that, because the main feature of Rex was that it could launch these nukes that were invisible to radar, which they haven't had that technology in these previous games. If they did have that technology in Peace Walker or MGS5, that would be a serious, that would have a meaningful, that'd be a more meaningful retcon. It would be a bit more annoying, or a bit more, it would damage the story more. But I don't really mind them taking liberties with, the fact that these Metal Gears are more agile and everything. But yeah. This scene reminded me of PT. Look at the just this dark hallway, the red light. You saw that exact red light in PT, down this dark hallway, the dangling light in the middle of the room. And yeah, it just reminded me of PT. And it looks like this looks like it's in a hospital. Look at the I'm not sure what you call those things, but look at the thing to the right of Snake. That sort of table thingy, whatever you call them. It all looks like hospital type equipment. But you have all these Diamond Dogs soldiers here as well. They look like soldiers, so maybe it's not, because it kind of looks more underground, like some sort of base or something here. Even though it kind of does look like a hospital at the same time. Who knows? Snake is on his knees here. It looks pretty grim. He looks pretty hopeless here. Alright, this scene is really interesting. Just take a look at... I'm just going to pause it when it gets to the... Look behind Snake here, as we just go frame by frame. I'll speed it up. See how there's no one but behind Snake? Skullface appears, and everyone else The Diamond Dog soldiers are still looking ahead, oblivious. And it ends with Snake walking past the cassette tape. Sort of pauses, and it seems like he's kind of gets disgusted by his own reflection.
The chain of retaliation is what will truly bind this world together as one.
Les enfants terribles, Zero called it.
All right. What was I going to say? Obviously, Big Boss at the end there. He's telling, you know, someone at Diamond Dogs, telling Ocelot, telling Miller about what he found out about the clones. He's telling someone about the clones. You know, Les enfants terribles is what he called it. This is obviously when he finds out about the clones, basically. What's going on there with the two liquids at the end, or if the second one is liquid, who knows? I have no idea. I have nothing really to say about it. What I will say is I don't think it's solid, and I don't think it's Solidus. I don't think it's another clone. But I have no idea what they're trying to get across there with that scene. I think it's likely just another form of liquid that isn't actually liquid, or it's just some sort of reflection or something weird and sort of ambiguous. I have no idea. Like, he's wearing the same necklace that Liquid is wearing, so it's kind of like it is the exact same person, and that it's not another clone, or it's. I have nothing really to say about it. Yeah. It's another pretty cool image, though. But yeah, it looks really good. Just the whole atmosphere that the game seems to be going for. You know, it just looks really good. Just something that I think that I'll definitely enjoy. Hopefully, just the whole style that they're going with here. The way the story is being told. It all looks interesting. Looks like it's going to ask a lot of questions and really make you, really make you ask a lot of questions about what's going on. Like, I'd imagine the story is going to have us like this as well. That there's going to be a lot of crazy subliminal stuff, and just a lot, the story being told a lot through symbolism and a lot through these sort of hallucinations and things that you're seeing that aren't going to be necessarily explained within the story. You're just going to have to come to your own conclusions based on what you're seeing. But yeah, it was a really impressive trailer. Really interesting. But yeah, I find the whole Skullface Big Boss thing interesting, the way the game is constantly portraying them as these reflections of each other, and seeing them like face to face, one facing them, one upside down. There at the end, we see Skullface literally appear out of nothing, then disappear. It just seems like he's in his head somewhat, but then again, Skullface has his own backstory, has his own story, has his own motives. We've seen him have completely out of Big Boss's, in Ground Zeroes, we hear him talking with Paz and Chico, completely away from what Big Boss was doing. So, can Skullface really just be a figment of his mind if he has this backstory of his own, and he's already done these things? His character seems like his own character, but at the same time, he also seems like he's part of Big Boss's mind, and just this inner kind of reflection of Big Boss. So he seems he seems, you know, real in the sense of the word, but he also seems very unreal at times as well. It seems like a total almost figment of his mind. So it's really interesting. I guess we'll look at the. I've been talking for so long, my voice is getting shot. There's a couple of scenes that we haven't seen in this game. I have a couple of people to thank as well. Oh no, what did I thank Trilabs for his sub? I think I did. And Galactic Overseer subscribed as well. Thank you for the sub, Galactic Overseer. Much appreciated. There's that Kojima Productions logo again. Holy shit. How weird does that look? It just almost, you know, kind of ominous seeing the Kojima Productions logo with the words removed. Just considering the nature of the game and everything, and Kojima's last MGS and the themes that the game is dealing with, and the nature of the track that he picked, the music that he picked for the final trailer, and it almost seems like it ties in with the game. Here's a scene that we saw in the E3 2013 trailer, but this time it's played at nighttime. And that's something about the Phantom Pain. Cutscenes play out in real time. So if you're, you know, like the game has this, has a day and night cycle. So cutscenes will play out. You know, if you're playing the game during the day, the cutscene will play out during the day. If you're playing at night, the cutscene will play out during the night. You know, the cutscenes don't have their own, you know, daylight or nighttime. Depending on depending on when you trigger that cutscene, that's you know, whatever part of the day that is, that's when the cutscene will play. Yeah, which is pretty cool. You know, it'll be something that'll be good for, you know, replay value, especially for us. You know, when we do story marathons and we do story playthroughs just to showcase the game. You know, we'll be able to figure out, you know, what cutscene do we like better? Do I like when this cutscene plays at night, or do I like it when it plays at daytime better? Which gives it the better effect. So that's definitely something that could be interesting. You know, figuring out which, you know, adding your own lighting to the cutscene basically, or whichever lighting you think works better, suit the tone of the scene or suit the atmosphere. Here's some form of Zeke or some form of some sort of Metal Gear. There you see Huey on the top left. This scene isn't shown in the trailer. Oh, is that a railgun? Yeah, it looks like a railgun on the right, or some weird mini railgun. Yeah, here is Big Boss and Quiet getting into the chopper. This is you know, likely the same scene as the last trailer. You know, where the cyborgs jump into the air and they rip down the helicopter, and then you see Quiet and Big Boss on the ground. And here we see these guys in the shorts again. Remember how we saw the cyborg guys in the shorts, the skulls? Remember I pointed that out when we were watching the last trailer, and they were, you know, they were kind of zombieing, moving around, wearing these shorts. So I wonder, do those skulls, do those cyborg guys, like, do they dress up as these guys or something? Yeah, it's just kind of interesting. There's Skullface pushing down Huey. Here we see Mantis again. Actually, you know, levitating right beside Volgin, Spectre thingy. You also see some form of Metal Gear behind them as well. But yeah, you know, they really seem sort of unreal. And there's this same scene again of them face to face. But this one is slightly different. It looks like it's in a different place, or it's at a different... No, they triggered the scene at a different time. The lighting is different. And quiet can also light your cigar, it seems. Alright. So yeah, there's a fucking shitload to talk about, as you can see. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Alright, just give me a couple of minutes, guys, and I'm gonna get myself a drink. I would play, usually I'd play the trailer.